Yo, what's good, everybody? Thank y'all again for tuning in to another episode of the Dope Sessions podcast. My name is Kelvy. Y'all know what it is. Y'all know I've been doing this conversation things for a little bit. I'm always glad to finally have somebody to talk to. You know, for the most part, I'm always doing this by myself. So, what can I say about the guest that we have today? There is some history with us because we went to the same grammar school together. Not only is she a dope person, she is a kick-ass mom. She is a super dope lawyer. She is a singer, a poet, a rapper who don't want none of this business, but
whatever.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Dope Sessions podcast. K-Soul, what's up?
What up? I appreciate that intro.
No problem at all. How you been?
You know, all things considered, I really can't complain. You know, it could be a lot different even in the middle of all this, but I'm safe. My child is safe. We're well, thankfully. So yeah. I really can't complain.
Okay. Yeah, it's crazy out here with what, you know, everybody know COVID-19 is out here. We trying to stay safe. You know, it's a teaching it's a teaching mechanism because, you know, it's teaching us more how to be safe, doing things properly, which we should have been doing in the first place. But you know, also, you know, being close with the family, and you know, when I do these episodes, I usually talk to a lot of like indie artists, and so it's really just like it's teaching us how to be more creative, you know, and with the circumstances that we have going on right now. So we're just gonna go ahead and get this out the way as far as this particular question. Or I'm gonna set this up. So, like I said, me and K-Soul went to grammar school together. We went to Roseland Christian School. I don't know how long you were at Roseland Christian. I was there from 4th grade to 8th grade. So when did you was you like preschool, kindergarten, that, and then 8th grade with Roseland?
Yeah, I was kindergarten through 8th.
Okay.
Life work.
Okay. Hey, man, you know the funny thing is, it's like I have some memories of Roseland. I don't have there's certain things I remember. I don't remember everything from Roseland. I do remember like people that were like real cool. Like, what do you remember anything about me when we was at Roseland?
Do I remember anything about you from Roseland?
Yeah.
I mean, you were pretty quiet. Like, you were pretty quiet. I think you and Barry were pretty tight still, even then, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were always real soft-spoken and sweet, from what I can remember.
Okay. See, and you know, everybody know how I am.
I don't know what you expect me to say, something else, like something totally different from how you are.
I don't know. I have no idea. Like, you could have been like, yeah, you wasn't all that dope in Roseland. I don't know.
No, I don't have no bad memories about you.
I don't have bad memories about you either. What I didn't know is that you were a singer. So when did when did you start singing? Was singing always something that was just something you always wanted to do? Was it something that you were doing in church? Like how did you get started with singing?
Yeah, I mean, singing was from the very beginning. I sang in school. I was in choir. When they would do those little talent shows, I did a couple of those. So it's been something, one that's always been a part of my life, but it was a part of my life because it was an outlet for me. It was one of the things that I enjoyed to do most. I mean, it was the thing I enjoyed most about the church was the choir.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So when did you now while you were at Roseland and singing, were you also, was that your early starting to like not just the choir at Roseland, but just at church period?
Yeah, I mean, I was in choir in school, at church, and whenever I could pull my friends to the side and get them to sing some harmonies for me. So I was always looking for a reason to sing.
Okay, so do you remember the first song you led?
Do I remember the first song I led? I think that was a sore spot for me for a long time because I always felt like I never got a lot of leads. But the song that probably sticks out to me the most was in 4th grade when I sang "Oh Holy Night"
Okay.
at the school Christmas concert.
Okay, and then after you finished singing that, did you go off the stage and be like, I killed that shit? Like,
It's funny because the year before I had watched, who had sang it, and I was like, man, I want to do that when it's, when I'm in 4th grade, when I get my chance. And when I auditioned, actually, I came in as like the understudy, and just so happens that the person who was supposed to sing it got sick.
Okay.
So I got to sing it. So, it's one of those type things. It was a great experience.
Now, as you were singing, but like of course, like we'll get to like what you're doing now and stuff. But as far as like singing back then, was that the start of this is what I want to do for a living, or did you have something else that you wanted to do prior, like before singing or anything? Was that like the main goal, or did you want to do something else?
Singing was definitely the dream. My grandmother thought that it was more of a pipe dream, so her focus was more on education. And from that standpoint, I wanted to be an attorney. I lived in the hood, so I wanted to be able to learn how the laws are, how they work, how our country is run by them, so that I could educate myself from that point. So I think those passions were dual passions of mine. But I mean, the truth is, the singing was supposed to be kind of the first, and the law was going to be like, well, man, if singing don't work, I have a hell of a fallback. But
Right.
it didn't quite work out like that.
Okay, so did the singing continue during high school as well, or was there a period where it just kind of stopped and you kind of picked it back up? Did it continue during like high school, college, and everything like that? Or?
It did. When I was in high school, I was in choir. I was in choir all through college. I even went into the studio a few times. So, I mean, it was something that stayed pretty consistent throughout my life for a long period of time.
Get into you being a lawyer, like, and you said that was something that you always wanted to do. Was there a particular practice that you wanted to do when you were deciding to be a lawyer, or like with the practice you're doing now, was that the main practice that you wanted to set yourself in?
I think from the beginning, for me, it was a social justice type thing for me. I looked up to the Thurgood Marshalls and the Johnny Cochrans, and so I wanted to make social change. church.
Okay.
And I mean, I honestly didn't 100% know what that would look like, if it meant, up on Capitol Hill, making big speeches. But for me, it ended up being really more of being a voice, an advocate for the community, and coming back, after law school, and just helping as many families as I could in whatever area. And for me, it ended up being real estate and family. Those ended up being, my cause choices.
Right. Real estate and family. Okay, that's dope. Like, that's super dope. Like, so now, like I said, like, you're this kick-ass attorney, kicking ass and taking names. Kicking ass and taking names. And so as you're doing this, was singing still in the, like, was singing still like, okay, I still want to do this? Like, cause now, like, you're like out there now. So when was that, like when was that, man, like, okay, now it's time to just push it out there now? When was that decision?
Okay, well, I was kind of dipping in and out the studio a little bit here and there anyway. It wasn't until someone really close to me passed away in 2012. And, I had some other personal things going on in my life. And I was just like, what am I doing? And at that point, I hadn't done music in a few years, because I did get to a point where I was like, this is, I need to just let this go, and I'm just gonna be an attorney, and I'm not about to worry about singing. But I couldn't, I wasn't happy, and I couldn't get away from it. So since 2012, I was like, I'm going full force, full time. This is what I'm gonna do. And I've been slowly transitioning out of practicing, and so I'm finally in a space where I'm pretty much a full-time artist. Like, I still have a day job that I do, but I only work for one client now versus having multiple clients, so that I can spend the bulk of my time working on my music.
Okay. And I can relate to what you were talking about. I know, like, it was tons of people that just kept telling me, like, man, like, you need to go out there, like, you can rap, man, like you need to be. And everybody thought, like you're going to be signed one day and all this other stuff. And so I think I got to a point where nothing really happened. So I was just like, all right, maybe I should just, just have my focus put on something else. And then I just kind of, I think sometimes when to say, like, man, fuck this. I'm going to push myself out there. Like, I ain't got nothing to lose. Like, so did you have that, like, shit, I ain't got nothing to lose, I'm gonna do this, like, I don't care?
I don't know if that was my initial epiphany. I think my initial epiphany was somewhere around, I'm totally unhappy and life is short and I'm not really doing what I love. But once I made that decision, there was a lot of backlash. There was a lot of second guessing. I mean, of course, it's like, you're a lawyer. Like, why would you, like, who was like that to, like, try to be a starving artist? It just seemed crazy, and it's hard sometimes not to let those type of things get in your head, and life happens. But, it just became something that I just was like, I can't live without it. When everything around you starts to break down, and the only thing that seems to make sense is the music, you realize that, at least for me, that's what I'm supposed to be doing.
I know as artists, we want to be, like, fully ourselves, but of course, we mold ourselves a little bit after, like, people that we genuinely, like, really mess with musically. And was there anybody that you was just like, I this is kind of like the way I want to sound, this is kind of how this is the feel that I want to have? Was there any artists like that for you that once you started like really going super hard on the K Soul stuff, you just like, okay, I want a little bit of this, I want a little bit of that, or did you just say, you know what, I'm gonna create my own sound, my own identity? You know, how did you work that in there?
Well, one, I think that artists are evolving. You know, the artists that we started off as, 10 years ago is not the same artist that will be 10 years from now. At least that's how I believe it should be, because it should be a constant evolution and growth. That being said, I am very much a student of the culture. You know, I'm influenced by, Stevie Wonder, Mahalia Jackson, Jill Scott, all the way to Drake and Kendrick and Jhené Aiko. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, I listen to a lot of different artists. I think in the beginning for me, more so, I think more because of how I look, people automatically wanted to put me in that neo soul, Jill Scott, and I get that. I mean, that comparison is, who wouldn't be honored? But I think for me, it wasn't so much the comparison. It was this idea that I still want to be the new K Soul, not the next.
Right.
And that only came with time. That came with me consciously stepping away from that and saying, okay, there are elements of neo soul that I like, but do I want all of my records to be the neo jam step? No, that's not what I was looking for. And when I finally became clear about what I was going for, and that I can be neo soul, and I can be hip hop, and I can be a little rock, and I can put a church riff over that. And when I became comfortable doing that, that's when I feel like I really stepped into what my sound was and what it was that I do as an
artist. This is something else I want to ask you, because I know with me being an artist, this is when I first started rapping, I knew at some point I was just like, yo, I don't know if I want to come out with an album with the way I used to rap, because it really wasn't about anything. And so I went through this, and I remember like these words coming out of my mouth. I kept saying like, man, I need some life experience, like for me to just like really just to talk about stuff. I was like, I really need some life experience. And then I got a whole lot of life experience. And so
what you asked for.
A whole lot of that shit. And so now, one of the things that I've had people tell me, as far as like the album that I released, that they felt like they couldn't really get into it because they felt it was too emo for them. But I understand that. Are there any? Is there people that just say, I mean, like you just talking too much about what your life is, and it's just like do you get people that say that to you?
I've never had anyone say that to me. The closest I may have come is my mentor asked me, I want to say last year we went in the studio, and he said, I really would he said that he would really love to see me do an up-tempo pop record. Okay. And he made the comment that, a lot of artists make their career off of writing about their lives and people connecting to that, but you don't have to. And I'm like, I think my take on that is, I think as an artist, you have to know that your art is not going to be for everyone. So that's first of all, and be okay with that. So I try not to create ever thinking about if it's for somebody else, like if somebody else, what they'll think. I try to just create purely from what's in my heart, what's on my mind, what the song leads me, knowing that there's definitely someone who has experienced life in the way that you've experienced it. So, I mean, that's regardless.
Right.
And I mean, there's different music for different times in different places for everything. So I just take it as my music may not be for every single person that listens to it, and that's okay.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like, so okay, so I'm gonna this is still about songwriting, so I'm gonna put a disclaimer on this one because a lot of people out there don't know that you and I have a very mutual friend who I used to be married to. And and I wrote this song that's on the album called Leave. And it's not a harsh song. It's just me saying, hey, you know what? We didn't work out, and that's cool, and it's basically just like, hey, we didn't work out, but we're still cool. There was a situation where she told me that she heard the song, and at first she was kind of mad at me because she felt like I didn't really talk to her about it. As an artist, I felt like part of me is just like, I don't think I have to talk to you about it because it's my experience. Has that happened to you? And as an artist, do you have to be careful with the things that you say, especially if it's about a particular person?
Well, I'm gonna give you the answer that's in my head, and it's a hell no. We're not obligated to disclose to people how we choose to share our art. Now, I will say this. Singing and rapping is different, of course, than if you publish a book and write a whole chapter, but
Right.
in a 3 to 4 minute record that may or may not vaguely be about you. I mean, that's the story of how most artists communicate. You found out some of an artist's juiciest secrets in their music. That's what we do. We put the shit in our music. So you can't tell us like, oh, don't write about me. I've had people say, well, if you write a song about me, will I know it? One, you probably will never know because I'm not big on names. And two, like, it's my version of events. If you feel like your version is different, write a song. I'm cool with that. Just don't put my name in it.
Right. But I always wonder, like, when people put like just their personal stuff into songs, because I mean we all do it. I always wonder, like, oh man, what's the backlash you getting from the person who it could be about, or like, it's like, I've always wondered that. And with your music, you talk about some real, like, deep issues, and had there ever been a time like that your daughter may have wanted to hear certain songs and you just like, no, I don't think you need to hear this one yet?
Probably when she was younger, but now, especially because she goes to the studio with me a lot. She's at home and she's hearing me work on stuff. So I had worked on a song recently for my new album. And before we went to the studio, I just told her, like, mommy's going to be talking about some pretty deep things. And, if you have questions, I was just like, don't interrupt me while I'm recording. But afterwards, we can talk. So I try to be pretty open with my daughter. And I share a lot with her about my life, So, no, because I feel like I don't ever want to create anything that I would be ashamed for her to see or hear. And my story is a part of who she is. So I talk with her and share those things with her.
Of course, with us being indie artists, and with everything that's going on right now with COVID-19, how has that affected your art? And if it has or hasn't affected your art, and like, what are the things that like you're doing to keep yourself creative, to keep pushing your art?
Good questions. Well, I mean, as far as the creativity part, you know, I was in a really good flow. I still think I am in a good creative flow. You know, I was really deep into recording my album. So I do have a pretty decent home set up. So I've been continuing to write, continuing to record. You know, I'm not able to get into the main studio right now, so that's been a bit of a downer and a slight delay. The good thing is that I had done a lot of vocals already, so I'm at least set with like first and second single ready to go. So there's some breathing room there, but I definitely miss being able to get into that big studio every. And then, you know, of course, from the live performance. I mean, I know everybody's getting into live stream, and I'm in talks to do a couple live streams myself, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
For me, I'm an energy person. I like that human connection, that interaction when I'm delivering my art. I like to be in your face so we can share in it together. So I do miss that a lot.
So when is the new album dropping?
The initial release date was set for August 15th. It looks like I could still potentially make that date. But you know, with us being on lockdown for another 30 days, I may have to push it back. It may end up being an early fall release.
Okay, so what's the name of the album that you dropped?
It's called In My Mind.
Okay. So
it's a collection of stories and experiences, and I call it In My Mind because, you know, as people, we always it's all about our perception. You know, how many times have you had a conversation with someone, they're like, well, in my mind it was like this, and because I've been, you know, kind of had to step back and deal with some of my own personal inner turmoils, I thought it was quite appropriate, because that's really what the album is talking about. It's me sharing these spaces in my mind that we don't talk about, that we don't always say out loud, and sharing those parts of me.
Okay. In My Mind, and you said August, if we getting out of this quarantine.
I know, right?
But if not, we're going to push it back to the fall. Okay, so I'm going to be looking out for
late
that.
Summer, early fall, we should be in there.
Okay. Okay. So, will your daughter be on the album? Do you have something with her on the album? Or is she just kind of like, nah, that ain't for me?
No, she definitely sings and stuff. She's actually in a group and they do shows and all of that. You know, she's like my little business partner. I try to treat her all the sides of it, from decisions I make about songs and visuals, you know, business decisions. So she's not on there singing right now, but she may. You never know.
Okay, and then my final question is, when are we gonna collab on something?
Oh, we can collab whenever. I'm always open for that.
Okay.
Yeah, we can collab. You send me some ideas or something, a track or just an idea you got in mind, and we can work from there.
Okay, so thank you for coming. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for talking to me.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Make sure you check out that first single that's dropping in a couple weeks, May 15th.
Okay, and where can everybody see your videos, listen to your music? Where you at?
Okay, so the first single is called Blood in My Veins. I should probably say that. And it's out on the 15th, and it'll be available wherever people listen to music: Apple, Google Play, Amazon, Spotify, whatever your choice is. And you know, I'm on Instagram, social media. Hit me up at ksoulmusic.com, and then you can connect to all my other social media from there.
Okay. And like I said, thank you again for chopping it up with me. I really do appreciate this.
Thank you, Mr. Dope Sessions. I love it. I appreciate you having me on your show.
Oh, no problem at all. And thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for tuning in. I will see y'all next time. Peace.
Peace.